towel and sheet first. I'm just going to use, where's our, I'm just going to put this over her head, sorry lovely. Is the heated blanket on? No. Should we turn on the heated blanket so it's warmer for her? Are you warm enough? And let's just get her comfortable with some, with a bolster perhaps. Do you use towels for bolsters? Yes. Like this? Your feet smell very good. Okay, so after we ask our guests to lie on their front, what is the first technique, or the first thing it says?
3 breath.
Before that?
Ask your guest to lie on their front.
And then is there an inhalation?
Oh.
Don't worry if not. Okay, where's it gone? So on the 3 breaths, I'm going to just add with the essential oil, okay? So we're going to start by asking the guest to take 3 deep, slow breaths and focus on releasing tension from their body on the out breath. If you're not super confident to say that, that's absolutely fine, okay? So we can put one hand on their heart and one hand underneath their face cradle. And just ask them to start by taking 3 deep breaths. Take 3 deep breaths for me, please.
Rocking with forearms.
Okay, so we're going to start by rocking with forearms. Place both of your forearms on the lower back. And we're just going to start by rocking with the flat, squidgy part of your forearm up the back. Can you see how my lower arm is on the base? My upper arm is travelling up. And then it's coming back down. So we do this.
豊満な胸よ。
Okay. Rocking is a very good technique of helping the body relax. Do you know why? Why rocking is so good? It's because the body cannot rock itself. You can't do this motion on its own. So it confuses the brain and it shuts the muscle group, it disconnects the muscle group from the brain. Okay, so we sometimes do this in Thai massage, this rocking movement. Okay.
Palm walking over shoes or towel.
Okay, slowly with the palms on the base of the spine, finish your rocking. And then we're going to do palm walking. So with the bottom of our palms, we're going to start on the side opposite us. And I'm going to push away the muscles from the spine. Starting from the sacrum, working up the spine. Cat walking. Have you heard of cat walking before? One and then the other, like a cat. Okay, a slow cat. They cat walk a lot faster. Cat walking up. and into the scapula. Back down. Over the buttock, and then down the middle of the leg, the opposite leg. Less pressure over the popliteal. Down the centre of the calf, onto the foot. When you reach the foot, you're going to come down to the bottom of the bed and you're going to work both feet. And then we're going to walk around to the other side of the bed and then work up the other leg. Into the glute. Up the spine. Is that pressure okay, Natalie? Just let me know if it's not okay. Into the scapula. And back down the spine to the sacrum. And we finish here at the sacrum. Okay, so that's your palm walking. Okay.
Sacrum, gluteus, and lower back stretch.
Okay, so the sacrum, glute, and lower back stretches. For the glutes, you can work into both glutes at the same time. And then you can stretch the sacrum down. And you can also do diagonal stretches on the back. Stretching diagonally. And on the other side. You can stretch the glutes down. And then again the sacrum towards the toes. Okay?
Cupping over toe.
Okay, so now I'm just going to try to tighten my tunic a bit because I've just realised that you can see down my top. Which is fine if it's just us, but I'm not sure whether I want it for the film. Okay, so now we go into our Tibetan techniques. Okay, cupping. When we do our cupping, we need to make sure that we have space in our hands. Like you're scooping water out of to drink, we can't let the water fall through the fingers, so it's tight hands, okay? And in Tibetan massage, we've got 3 meridians down the back. We have one up the spine, up and down the spine, and this is called the governing vessel. And then we have many meridians, but the ones that we want to remember are inner bladder meridian, and this runs down the erector spinae muscles, through the glutes, and down the centre of the legs. to the feet. And then we have the outer bladder meridian, and this runs a few inches out, either side of the scapula, just inside the scapulae. Again, down the back, joining up with the first bladder meridian to come down the legs. So when we do our cupping, we're going to do 2 lines. First of all, down the inner bladder meridian twice, then down the outer bladder meridian twice. Okay? We start on the top of the back. Make sure your hands are tight. The cupping is going to be quite firm, but we're going to start with some gentle tapping. Gentle tapping on the top of the shoulders, so not to scare them. Okay? And then slowly we can build the pressure. Coming down the inner bladder meridian, over the glutes, and down the back of the leg. When you finish your first line, skim the hands up the sides of the body and begin again. Gently tapping, making the pressure more, and then coming down. Over the glutes, over the back of the leg, to the feet. Skimming the hands back up. Outer bladder meridian now. Okay, I've done inner bladder meridian twice, now outer twice. Slightly further out.
Uncover the back and apply the grounding body oil.
So now we can uncover the back. Turn the arms out. There we go. Take your oil. And apply any way you wish. Okay, there's no fixed way to apply the oil. Lovely, okay.
Bladder meridian effleurage.
Bladder meridian effleurage. So the first technique after applying the oil is effleuraging down the inner bladder meridian, up the sides of the body, and then we go down the outer bladder meridian, up the sides of the body. So line your middle finger with the inner bladder meridian. With your body pressure, your body weight, we go into the bladder meridian, straight arms, come down the sides of the spine, all the way down to the sacrum, and up the sides of the body. This is a basic effleurage, but we're just making sure that our hands are lined up with the bladder meridians. Okay? It's nice to come down the arms also. And then secondly, outer bladder meridian. Can you see how my hands are slightly further out here? Okay, good. You can repeat that a few times. Again, coming down the outer bladder meridian, down the inner bladder meridian, up the governing vessel, not up the governing vessel, up the sides, down the outer bladder meridian, and up the sides. The next technique is
Covering vessel effleurage.
effleurage your way down to the base of the back, You can cross your hands, crisscross, to turn them round, and then we're going to bring our hands into a prayer position, okay? And we're going to pray up the spine with the blades of our hands in the gully, either side of the spine, in the dip. And we're working up the governing vessel. Opening at the top, and choose to either come down the arms or down the sides of the back. And repeat 2 to 3 times. Okay?
Kneading.
So kneading you will all know already, easy, petrissage. With our kneading, I prefer to knead on the other side of the back because it's easier to reach around. So make sure you're doing a dance in kneading, you're using your body weight, you're using your body movement. And focus your pressure through your thumbs over those bladder meridians. Knead around the shoulder. Okay, you can do the kneading from the same side. For the video, I'm just going to do it from the same side, so she doesn't have to move. Erica doesn't have to move. So you can then knead the other side. Okay.
Double thumb pressure.
Okay, so double thumb pressure is a technique that we're going to use in all 3 massages. This is a spinal work technique, and we're working here. I haven't started yet, I'm just explaining it. We're going to work along the spinal channel, helping to balance the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous systems. Okay? When we do our spinal work, unless specified, we're working from the top of the spine down to the base of the spine. Okay? So with our double thumb pressure, we're going to start on the side that we're standing. Our thumbs are going to go inside the gully, inside the laminar groove, on the side that we're standing of the spine. Okay? In line with the shoulder. We're going to watch the breath. As our guest breathes out, I'm going to start by pressing down into the gully. Then a very, very small movement in towards the spine, just pressing a little bit in towards the spine, and then pressing out and up, sliding along. And we're going to do these pressures all the way down the spine with a few inches in between. Okay, so you can do your first one here, and then let's say 2 thumbs between, second, 2 thumbs, third. Okay, if we did every single point all the way down, it would take a very long time. Essentially, you know, all of these vertebrae connect to different organs, and so we're helping to, first of all, release the spine, second of all, stimulate all the organs, third of all, we're helping to balance the 2 nervous systems. So I'll just do as I would. As she breathes out, I'm pressing down, a little bit in, a little bit out, and up, moving along. The main movement here is down and up. Pressing down, in, out, and up. We only want to do this movement as it is comfortable for our thumbs. Okay, we don't want to overpress or hurt our thumbs doing this. The nervous system doesn't need very hard pressure. We're not doing acupressure points here. We're just trying to compress the nerves that feed the vertebrae. So don't worry if it's not very firm pressure, it's fine. Pressing down, in, out, and up. If you're teaching someone, I'm thinking about at Ambon Imu, and they're really struggling to do the in-out movement, don't worry so much, just teach them down and up. That's the most important part of this movement. Okay? The in and out is just the added extra. So if they're really struggling, just make sure they're giving nice pressure down, holding, and then slowly releasing up and moving along. That's the most important thing. Okay, to come to the other side, you can effleurage round, staying nice and connected. Don't let them think that you're just moving around the bed. Okay? So come around to the other side and work the other side with the breath. Down, in, out, and up. You okay, Sammy? Down, in, out, and up. Down, in, out, and up. Good. Down. Yeah.
浅見さん、
はい。
麹町の方たち、今、オリエンテーション終わったんですけど、何もしないでも返してください。
何もしなくて大丈夫です。
はい、わかりました。すいません。
Awkward. No, I'm joking. Okay.
Flowing acupressure.
So after we've finished our double thumb pressure, double means 2 thumb pressures, we're going to do flowing acupressure. And this technique is again from the top of the bed. I'm going to effleurage my way up. And I'm going to do flowing acupressure alternately, first of all coming down the inner bladder meridian, which is over the erector spinae. Okay, the thumbs are alternately doing little circles over the erector spinae, down the inner bladder meridian. Oh, she's got very tight erector spinae muscles. When you get to the bottom, reverse your hands and you're going to push up the governing vessel. So you don't need to do little circles here, it's still little circles, but the main thing what we're trying to do here is pushing up the governing vessel, which is up the laminar groove, either side of the spine. When you reach the top, make sure you go up the neck here. Don't forget about the neck. You can go all the way up. You can't see what I'm doing here, but you can go all the way up, pushing up into the skull, into the occipital ridge. Switch the hands around. And then we want to come down the outer bladder meridian. And up the governing vessel. Okay.
Thumb slide.
Thumb sliding. One more move with the thumbs. We're going to do thumb sliding next, which is very much like our double thumb pressure. So I've done side 1 and side 2 with double thumb pressure. So I'm going to start on this side for thumb sliding. We're going to work down the laminar groove right next door to the spine, down the gully. One thumb slides and the other catches up. One thumb slides with pressure, the other catches up. This technique is combing the nerves. It's working down the nervous system. And it's like, as you would comb the hair, it's combing the nerves. And I remember this movement, I think about it as 2 little snails. Okay, so you can think about the mummy snail, which is this one. The mummy snail goes, and then the baby snail catches up to kiss the mama. I know it sounds silly, but it's helpful to remember. So whenever I think about this movement, I think about mummy and baby snail. Coming down, combing every nerve down the sympathetic nervous system, all the way down to the parasympathetic nervous system in the sacrum. And the other side. Okay.
Gentle rocking.
Lovely. So the next technique is called gentle rocking. For gentle rocking, we're going to honour the 5 elements of the body in Tibetan terminology, Tibetan theology and philosophy. Each of the 5 elements are actually in the same places as the chakras. And we start with our first, which is on the base. So this is Sa, our earth element. And we're going to start just by gently rocking over earth. Then the top hand comes to water, earth and water. The top hand moves to fire on the solar plexus, earth and fire. And then to the heart, earth and air. And finally to the base of the neck for earth and space. Coming back down, earth and air. Earth and fire. Earth and water. And finishing with earth. Okay.
Knuckling.
Knuckling next. We're going to use our knuckles in a fanning movement, like this. First of all, over the sacrum, into the buttocks. You can also do this movement here where you come around and you knuckle up into the buttocks, twisting the fist, and then coming back round. Knuckling up into the buttocks, knuckling up into the buttocks. And then I'd like you to knuckle up the sides of the spine and then into each individual shoulder. This is more freestyle, but you can do one shoulder at a time. So you can come like this and you can knuckle into one shoulder, using just one hand if you wish, or two if you are comfortable. Knuckle into the trapezius. Is the pressure okay, Masami? And then the other side as well. After knuckling,
Right side, double hand, effleurage.
okay, so now we're going to work just on one side of the back, and we're going to do some deep tissue techniques with the forearms and the elbows. So finish knuckling the shoulders, and then come to the right side. It actually doesn't matter which side you start on. Just choose a side, whichever side you're standing on. In the protocol it says right side, so it makes it easy to write out. The first technique is double-handed effleurage. We're going to double-handed effleurage up the side of the spine and down the arm into the hand. Okay.
Forearms stretch.
Next is the forearm stretch. We're going to have the flat part, the fat part, and depending how skinny you are, you might have less. The fat part of your forearm in the center of the spine, and you're going to stretch out the spine. And then scoop around the side of the back. Stretch out the spine. And scoop around the back. Forearm stretch. Next.
Forearm erector spine slide.
Okay, so we're now going to do 2 movements on the erector spinae. And we're going to do this by putting our top arm on the bed. Our bottom arm is going to come down over the sacrum with the flat of our forearm, and then we're going to find the dip in the lower back, just above the sacroiliac joint. Okay? When we found the dip and we're on the erector spinae muscle, with the flat of our forearm down on the back, we're going to glide up the side of the spine. This is not so intense, the first one. And then you come over the shoulder with the elbow. You can either come back over the shoulder and down over the side, however you want to finish, okay? So you can repeat that once or twice. And then the second is?
Elbow erector spine slide.
So the difference is forearm is down, elbow, we're going to concentrate more on the elbow. So sink into the point. Make sure you're on the erector spinae, and we're going to work very slowly, like a snail, up the erector spinae, stretching. Make sure that your fingers up towards the top of the head. This is a movement to stretch all the little fibres in the erector spinae. As you come over the ribs and they take a deep breath in, you can lighten your pressure slightly just to come over the ribs. Once you get in line with the scapula, again you can put the pressure back on and come over the shoulder. Does that feel okay, Masami? Sorry. Just slipped off. Come around the shoulder and you can repeat that again. Now remember, as we're practicing this, how slow you want to go. So you go super slow from here to here. Over the ribs, you lighten the pressure a little bit so they can breathe. Once you reach in between the scapula, then again, full body weight. And then come over the shoulder. If you slip off the erector spinae around here, that's quite normal. Just style it out. Don't worry too much. Don't, panic and try and go back on it. Just come back over the shoulder. It's fine. Okay, next technique is?
Forearm kneading.
Forearm kneading. We're going to bend our knees, and remember this morning when we went into horse? We're going to come down with our thighs, and we're going to knead up. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. All the way up the spine. Around the scapula, we can join the hands and we can forearm knead like this around the scapula. Okay.
Elbow around the scapula.
Then you can use the elbow around the scapula. So you can bring the lower arm onto the lower back, and the elbow can find the scapula. And once the elbow is hooked underneath the scapula, a few inches above the point of the scapula, this is when we can start putting the pressure in our elbow. These bottom bits here, they're too bony. There's too much rib there, so we don't want to put pressure here. We can start putting pressure around here, where these muscles that attach to the spine start, and the scapula start. So this is too bony over here. So on the bottom you can just rest your arm. And the top, find the scapula, hook your elbow, and very slowly come around the scapula, pressing out. Come around, and you can repeat again. Okay, next.
Work the scapula.
Okay, so working the scapula is freestyle. So you can use techniques you already have. If you're teaching people who are new to any kind of deep tissue, you can just show them some extra techniques. So you can work the scapula with your thumbs if you'd like. If you don't want to use thumbs, that's okay. You can use the palms of your hand. So you can work the scapula with the bony part of your palm here, coming around. You could also do some work with the knuckles. And this also feels good. If you have your fingers spread out, you can just come around just with one thumb. This is putting less pressure through the thumb because we're using stacked joints. Essentially, when you're teaching this though, it can be freestyle. Just check what they're doing to make sure it's all looking good. Get feedback from the guest or the model. Make sure they're happy with what you're doing, then that's okay. Okay?
Arm hanging off the bed.
Lovely. So next is the arm hanging off the bed. Once you've worked the scapula, you might need a little bit more oil here on your hand. and we're going to scoop underneath the arm, bringing the oil underneath the arm. Once the arm is totally oiled all the way down, then you're going to bring the arm off the bed, scoop underneath, pull up, and the arm hangs off the bed. And then we're going to work the pec, this area here, and pull all the way down the arm. So we're going to scoop underneath and pull out. Bring your hand underneath their chest and then pull out. Pulling out. And then you can pull out the elbow and then come down the forearm, sliding off the hand. And you can begin again. Once you've finished massaging the arm off the bed, actually something extra you can do here, if you're comfortable with this, is you can, and if the arm isn't too heavy, if it's a man's arm, you can't do this. If you're very small, it's hard to do this, but you can also do a stretch here. So you can bring the arm up. With the top hand, the arm comes up. With the bottom hand, the arm stretches down to the hip. The top arm stretches up. And then come back up, scoop under, stretch the arm up away from the shoulder, and then scoop back down again. If you are a deep tissue queen and you do loads of deep tissue, and let's say someone has a frozen shoulder or something, you could also do some work underneath the scapula here. You could leave it hang. How much deep tissue work have you done before? Quite a bit. So if you have other techniques that you know feels good, that guests are happy with, and go with a sequence, then we're happy for you to add your little touches. That's what makes a massage a bit personal, right? And then bring the arm back onto the bed. Here, as you put the arm back on the bed, it's quite nice just to fan your thumbs through the palm. And just do a little hand massage. Next, okay?
To link right and left.
Yeah, so the next thing we're going to do is link the right and the left. Okay? Next.
Forearms and barrage.
So to link the right and the left, we're going to come to the top of the bed. And we're going to place both of our forearms on the upper back. And just let our body weight sink our forearms into the upper back. And then you can also, if you have your hands linked together like this, bring your elbows out to spread the scapula. And then you can come around. Try not to squeeze the head like I just did. And you can also do some kind of alternate pressures into the shoulders. You can literally just wait here and press into the shoulders, especially if they've got upper back pain. And you can also spread. Okay.
Neck kneading.
Also to link right and left, you can see I'm coming around the other side of the bed now. We also want to do neck kneading, like picking up on the back of the neck. Okay, and
Thumb walking movement.
the thumb walking movement is quite hard for you to see. If you come here. So the thumb walking movement, you might need to be, we want to alternately, can you see if I do this? Oop. Alternately walk up into the occipital ridge. One thumb and the other. If one of you holds it up like this, because she's got short hair at the back, it's going to come down. So if you can hold like this, there we go. So you're going to come up and then thumb walk Is that okay, Masami? Do let me know if anything's uncomfortable, promise. And then also you can do the other side. Okay?
Repeat step 15 to 22 on left side.
Okay, good, I'm finished.
15 is double-handed brush.
Lovely. So, once you've done your neck kneading,